All right, this evening is a tribute to the legendary Tom Lehrer. You're going to hear a little bit from me about Tom and what a wonderful man he is, very talented. He's the kind of guy that growing up, I listened to him, certainly the Marx Brothers, Steve Allen, all of them, the Marx Brothers were just great. Everything that, not Fred Ward, Ward Productions, you know, Rocky and Bullwinkle and all that. Yeah, Jay Ward, thank you. All that music and comedy, important to many of us in this room. If you don't know who any of that is, when you leave this evening, you'll know why we're doing this. And it's a benefit for the music programs in various schools in Santa Cruz County. So thank you all. Tom Lehrer was born on April the 9th, 1928, presumably to human parents, although this fact is still under investigation. What we do know is that his childhood involved learning to play the piano acceptably, which is probably a generous way of saying he didn't sound entirely like a dying cat. By the age of 7, he had also begun writing song parodies, because why not start a little early with the existential crisis? All right, would you please welcome to the stage from KPIG and other places, Ralph Anybody, accompanied by Michael Gaither.
Well, that's yours. All right. Well, nice to see a full house on a Sunday night. That's awesome. Thanks for coming out. Couldn't do it without you. Well, we could, but that would just be rehearsing, and we've done that, so some of us.
Did we? We did?
We'll find out. Where was I? Yeah. All right. So, Tom Lehrer, this first one is a love song, as he could write it. Sharks gotta swim, bats gotta fly. I gotta love me one woman till I die. To Dick or Ed or Bob, she may be just a slob, but she's my girl, and I love her. In the winter, the bedroom is one large ice cube, and she squeezes the toothpaste from the middle of the tube. Her hairs in the sink have driven me to drink, but she's my girl, she's my girl, she's my girl. The girl that I lament for, the girl my money's spent for, the girl my back is bent for, the girl I owe the rent for, the girl I gave up Lent for, is the girl that heaven made for me. So for breakfast, she makes coffee that tastes like shampoo. I come home for dinner and get peanut butter stew. Or if I'm in luck, it's broiled hockey puck. But oh well, what the hell? She's my girl, and I love her. Thank you very much. All right.
Good to see you, bud. I gotta say this.
All right. This one, as many of his songs, probably just as meaningful today as it was when he wrote it.
Ready?
I think so. If you visit American City, you will find it very pretty. Just two things of which you must beware. Don't drink the water and don't breathe the air. Pollution, pollution. They got smog and sewage and mud. Turn on your tap and get hot and cold running crud. See the halibuts and the sturgeons being wiped out by detergents. Fish gotta swim and birds gotta fly, but they don't last long if they try. Pollution, pollution, you can use the latest toothpaste and then rinse your mouth with industrial waste. Just go out for a breath of air, and you'll be ready for Medicare. The city streets are really quite the thrill. If the hoods don't get you, the monoxide will. Pollution, pollution, wear a gas mask and a veil. Then you can breathe, long as you don't inhale. Lots of things there for you to drink, but stay away from the kitchen sink, the breakfast garbage that you throw into the bay. They drink at lunch in San Jose, so go to the city, see the crazy people there, like lambs to the slaughter. They're drinking the water and breathing the air. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the show. Michael Gaither, ladies and gentlemen.
After possibly spending the years between 1928 and 1944 napping, dreaming of being fabulously witty, Tom packed his bags and headed to Cambridge, Massachusetts, in search of a fortune, or at the very least, a Harvard University. His first subway ride from Cambridge to Boston inspired him to pen the Subway Song, after discovering that the first letters of the stops spelled out something utterly vital to society. HCKCPW. H is for, and this is from a song that he wrote, H is for my Harvard alma mater. C is for Central, next stop on the line. K is for the cozy Kindle station. C is Charles, that overlooks the brine. P is Park Street, busy Boston Center. W is Washington. You see, put them all together, they spell HCKCPW, which is just about what Boston means to me. All right, it's time for us to enjoy the talent of Jerry Kay.
Welcome. And I want to also welcome to the stage the other Jerry, who will be here much more than I will tonight, Jerry Paul, who had since about Tuesday to learn all of this music and had 15-minute slots for each of us to rehearse the song. So thank you. Well, it's intimidating also singing behind a Steinway piano also. So I don't know how many of you were Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or Cub Scouts or brownies, right? Any of you were Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts or Girls? Oh, okay, all right, right. I was not. But when you'd go to elementary school starting, and then you see the kids show up in their Cub Scout uniforms with the blue, or and the scarf with the ring around it and everything, and it was sort of exciting. But my parents weren't into joining any organized groups really, and so I didn't press them. And I remember going with my mom to J.C. Penney's, to buy clothes or something, and there'd be that whole counter of just Boy Scout and Girl Scout stuff, and but it's all right. Of course, Tom Lehrer, I think he was probably like me. He probably saw these kids as Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, and he obviously didn't join up either. So he wrote this song. But I was thinking, like, how is it relevant today? And I'm thinking, like, you know what? I remember reading in Keith Richards' autobiography that came out a few years ago that he was the equivalent of an Eagle Scout in England. And he was, like, totally dedicated to this. And I'm thinking, like, all right, Tom Lehrer wrote this for what Keith Richards was going to turn out to be. Ready? Yeah. I'm going to count it off, right?
Sure.
1, 2, 3. Be prepared. That's the Boy Scouts marching song. Be prepared. As through life you march along, be prepared to hold your liquor pretty well. Don't write naughty words on walls if you can't spell. Be prepared to hide that pack of cigarettes. Don't make book if you can't cover all your bets. Keep those reefers hidden where you're sure that they will not be found. And be careful not to smoke them when the scoutmaster's around, for he only will insist that they be shared. Be prepared. Be prepared. That's the Boy Scouts' solemn creed. Be prepared. And be clean in word and deed. Don't solicit for your sister, that's not nice, unless you get a good percentage of her price. And be careful not to do your good deed. Oh, I screwed that up. Be prepared, okay. And be careful not to do your good deed when there's no one watching you. And if you're looking for adventure and a new and different kind, and you come across a Girl Scout who is similarly inclined, don't be nervous, don't be flustered, don't be scared. Be prepared, be prepared.
At Harvard, he majored in math, he being Tom Lehrer, not Michael Gaither. Earning both a BA, that's a Bachelor of Arts degree, you're excused, in 1946, and a master's degree in 1947, which proves that being good with numbers can sometimes result in a lifetime of making people laugh. And no, he's not Professor Lehrer, clearly, or Dr. Lehrer, or even Your Majesty, though the Almighty would suffice. So now we want to listen to my good friend, the voice of Snazzy Productions, Michael Gaither.
Thank you, Ron. But can I just say, thanks for coming out tonight. This was, ticket sales kind of went the last couple of days. Thank you for coming out. Give yourselves a big hand. This is amazing. I mean, I can't see you, but it sounds amazing. So I write a lot of songs about Santa Cruz in my hometown in South County, so this one kind of appealed to me. Let's give it a shot. I really have a yen to go back once again, the place where no one wears a frown, to see once more those super special just plain folks in my hometown. No fella could ignore that little girl next door. She sure looks sweet in her old evening gown. Now there's a charge for what she used to give for free in my hometown. I remember Dan, the druggist on the corner. He was never mean or ornery, he was swell. He killed his mother-in-law and ground her up real well, and sprinkled just a bit over each banana split. You know, I like dark, but that's even a lot for me. The guy who taught us math, who never took a bath, acquired a certain measure of renown. After school, he sold the most amazing pictures in my hometown. I remember Sam. He was the village idiot, although it seems a pity it was so. He loved to burn down houses just to watch the glow, and nothing could be done because he was the mayor's son. Take your time with these. The guy took a knife and monogrammed his wife, then dropped her on the pond and watched her drown. Yes, the people there are just plain folks in my hometown. That fellow was no fool who taught our Sunday school, and neither was the kindly Parson Brown. The next line might offend, so we'll just jump here to the end. In my hometown. Thank you, folks.
Tom sold 400 copies of his first recording. And despite his modest distribution, that's 400 10-inch LPs, not 400 million, mind you. The album became the underground sensation of the year, mostly because no one knew better than to stop buying it. By the time the masses had caught on, Tom had sold 350,000 copies of this comedy masterpiece. Take a moment to imagine that by today's standards and realize that's just about the size of one average TikTok influencer. He tried to get major labels like RCA and Decca involved, but alas, no one seemed to understand the musical genius behind a song called The Elements. Now I must tell you. Anyway, at this point we proceed and we want to call to the stage Christa Taylor.
Well, it's getting to be that time of the year. You know, the holidays. And brother, we've all been through it, and Tom really knew how to throw it. Christmas time is here, by golly, disapproval would be folly. Deck the halls with hunks of holly, fill the cup and don't say when. Kill the turkeys, ducks, and chickens, mix the punch and drag out the dickens. Even though the prospect sickens, brother, here we go again. At Christmas time, you can't get sore. Your fellow man you must adore. There's time to rob him all the more. The other 364. Relations spare them no expense, so send some useless old utensil, like a matching pen and pencil. Just the thing I need. How nice. No matter how sincere it is, or how the poor heart felt the spirit, sentiment cannot endear it. What's important is the price. Hark, the Herald Tribune sings, advertising wondrous things. God rest ye merry merchants, may make the Yuletide pay. Angels we have heard on high tell us to go out and buy. So let the raucous sleigh bells jingle, hail our dear old friend Kris Kringle, driving his reindeer across the sky. Don't stand underneath when they fly by. Oh, thank you. Well, I have another little number here that, you know, if anybody is offended, I just want you to know that my parents raised me on Tom Lehrer. And if you're offended, blame my parents. It's not my fault. Okay. Are we ready?
We'll find out.
Yeah, we shall. Spring is here. Oh, spring is here. Life is Skittles and life is beer. I think the loveliest time of the year is the spring. I do. Don't you? Course you do. And there's one thing that makes spring complete for me, and makes every Sunday a treat for me. Every Sunday you'll see my sweetheart and me as we poison the pigeons in the park. And when they see us coming, the birdies all try and hide, and I've forgotten the words. I just want to do this. Okay, all right. Oh, the world seems in tune in a spring afternoon when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. When they see us coming, the birdies all try and hide, but they still go for peanuts when coated with cyanide. The sun shining bright, everything seems all right when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. La da, la da 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 dum da dum. We've gained notoriety and caused much anxiety with the Audubon Society with our games. They call it propriety and lack of propriety, and quite a variety of unpleasant names. But it's not against any religion to want to dispose of a pigeon. So if Sunday you're free, why don't you come with me and we'll poison the pigeons in the park. And maybe we'll do in a squirrel or two as we poison the pigeons in the park. We'll murder them all amidst laughter and merriment, except for the few we take home to experiment. My pulse will be quickening with each drop of strychnine we feed to a pigeon. It just takes a smidgen to poison the pigeons in the park.
After escaping the clutches of the United States Army by being honorably discharged, as they say, Tom returned to his true passion, writing satirical songs and occasionally performing them in nightclubs, where critics often greeted his performances with the enthusiasm of a particularly indifferent sloth. But did that bother him? Not in the slightest. The concert sells out, the audience loves it, so who cares what the paper says, he shrugged, sipping his mock martini. All right, treat for you, all the way from across the bay at CSUMB, Mr. Dylan Music.
Hi, my name is Dylan Music, and as you can see, I'm confused. I'm confused because this year, the first night of Hanukkah falls on Christmas, which many of you may know is really late for Hanukkah, but right on time for Christmas. So, but one thing I'm not confused about is the genius of Tom Lehrer, right? I mean, it's amazing. So when they asked me if I would do this, I said, okay, I'll do it, but only if I can do Hanukkah in Santa Monica, because it's one of my favorites. Yeah. So being the music nerd that I am, I had to find out a little bit about the song. So I assumed it was happened when, in the 50s and 60s at the height of his career, right? But it turns out he was commissioned in the late 80s to do this song. For some public radio music show, American Public Music or something like that. And so he did it for that. And that's about all I know about it. But that's not the first time that Hanukkah in Santa Monica comes around. Do you all know who Mickey Katz is? Yeah. There's also another comedic singer-songwriter. He's the father of Joel Grey from Cabaret. And Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing is his granddaughter. Anyway, he used to do this show in Santa Monica in the mid-'60s and the mid-'70s called Hanukkah in Santa Monica at the Santa Monica Civic. And I think that's where Tom Lehrer got the idea for his song that he did. So that's all I know. No more stalling. We got to do this. Okay, Hanukkah in Santa Monica. Here we go. Oh. I'm spending Hanukkah in Santa Monica, wearing sandals, lighting candles by the sea. I spent Shavuos in East St. Louis, a charming spot, but clearly not the spot for me. Those eastern winters, I can't endure 'em, so every year I pack my gear and head out here to Purim, Rosh Hashanah. I spend in Arizona and Yom Kippur down in Mississippi. But in December, there's just one place for me. Amid the California flora, I'll be lighting my menorah like a baby in his cradle. I'll be playing with my dreidel, spending Hanukkah in Santa Monica by the sea. And in Hanukkah, Santa Monica, wearing sandals, lighting candles by the sea. It's been Shavuos in East St. Louis. It's a charming spot, but clearly not the spot for me. Those eastern winters, I can't endure 'em, so every year I pack my gear and head out here to Purim, Rosh Hashanah. I spend in Arizona and Yom Kippur in Mississippi. But in December, there's just one place for me. Amid the California flora, I'll be lighting my menorah like a baby in his cradle. I'll be playing with my dreidel. It's the Judas Maccabeus man. If he could only see us spending Hanukkah in Santa Monica by the sea.
In 1959, Tom recorded his second album, An Evening Wasted with Tom Lehrer. During 2 performances at Harvard, the album, like most things in Lehrer's life, was an instant classic, despite being released with a helpful disclaimer, do not attempt to listen to these songs while operating heavy machinery. Please welcome now Mike Parks.
Thanks everybody for coming tonight and supporting a great charity. And thanks, Jerry, for the piano playing. When I got the email that they were looking for singers for Tom Lehrer songs, I jumped on it right away and said, I really, really want to do this one particular song because it has special meaning to me for a couple of reasons. When I was a youth in Catholic school, I was an altar boy, and I learned the Mass in Latin. It was no small feat, let me tell you. And so then, as soon as I was ready to start doing my altar boy thing, the Catholic Church said, you know what? Why don't you do it in English? And I'm like, so I had to learn the whole thing over again. So now, as 10 years later, two of my favorite things are ragtime music and poking fun at the Catholic Church. So here's the Vatican Rag. 1, 2, 3, 4. First you get down on your knee, fiddle with your rosary, bow your head with great respect and genuflect, genuflect, genuflect. Do whatever steps you want if you have cleared them with the pontiff. Everybody say his own Kyrie eleison, doing the Vatican Rag. In that processional, step into that small confessional. There's the guy who's got religion. He'll tell you if your sin's original. If it is, try playing it safer. Drink the wine and chew the wafer. 2, 4, 6, 8. Time to transubstantiate. So get down upon your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head with great respect and genuflect, genuflect, genuflect. Place the cross on your abdomen. When in Rome, do like a Roman. Ave Maria, gee, it's good to see you. Getting ecstatic and sort of dramatic and doing the Vatican Rag.
By the early 1960s, Lehrer had gone international, performing across the globe and somehow dodging all of the usual pitfalls of fame. But after a particularly confusing Australian tour and some general misadventures, Tom announced that he was done with show business and retired to teaching. This was his happy place until NBC revived him in 1964 to write for the short-lived satirical TV show That Was the Week That Was. Thank you. Or TW3 for short. However, he quickly grew disillusioned with how his sharp, edgy humor was being butchered by the show's somewhat oblivious cast and its tendency to edit out the good jokes. So much for satire, he sighed. And now, a real talent. I mean, they're all real talents.
Good save, Ron. Good save.
Thanks. Phew! Big welcome, please, for Michael Schoolcraft.
Thank you. Thank you. I have to tell you, there's no other place on this planet where there's a room full of people going, genuflect, genuflect, genuflect. I love Santa Cruz. And I live in San Jose, so what was said at the top of the show That it doesn't make you a bad person, but this song by Tom hurts me more than it does you. I want you to know. I long for the touch of your lips, but more for the touch of your whips. You can raise welts like nobody else as we dance the Masochism Tango. May our love be a flame, not an ember. Say, I'm the one you want to dismember. Oh, blacken my eye, set fire to my tie as we dance to the Masochism Tango. At your command, here I stand, heart in my hand, that's where I should be. My heart entreats when I hear those savage beats. Go put on your cleats and trample over me. Your heart is hard as stone or mahogany, which is why I'm in such exquisite agony. My soul is on fire, aflame with desire, which is why I perspire when we tango. You caught my nose in your left castanet, love. I can still feel the pain, love, every time I hear drums. And I envy the rose that you clench in your teeth, love, with those thorns underneath, love, digging into your gums. Your eyes cast a spell that bewitches. That's why last time I needed 20 stitches to sew up the gash that you made with your lash as we dance the Masochism Tango. Smash in my brain, make me scream with pain, kick me once again and say we'll never part. You know too well I'm underneath your spell. If you smell something burning, that's my heart. Take your cigarette from its holder and burn your initials in my shoulder. Fracture my spine, say you'll be mine as we dance to the Masochism Tango. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be part of this evening and to a good cause. As I do say, I'm from San Jose, but I'm over here in Santa Cruz all the time, so anything to support Santa Cruz, I'm for doing. And you're all such giving people. Give yourselves a round of applause for being giving people. And because I did the Masochism song, which is about receiving, and in the spirit of giving, I would like to cleanse my palate with this giving song. I love my friends, and they love me. What is it? We're as close as friends can be, and because we really care, whatever we get, we share. I got it from Agnes and she got it from Jim. We both agree it was Louise who gave it to him. And she got it from Harry who gave it to Marie. And everybody knows that Marie got it from me. Oh, Giles got her from Daphne, and she got it from Joan. She picked it up in County Cork, kissing the Blarney Stone. Pierre gave it to Sheila, which how is it got there? He got it from Francois and Jacques. Lucky Pierre. Oh, Max got it from Edith, who gets it every spring. She got it from her daddy, who just gives her everything. She gave it to Daniel, whose spaniel's got it now. Our dentist Stephen got it, and we're still wondering how. Oh, I got it from Agnes, or maybe it was Sue, or Willie, or Millie, or Billy, or Willie, it doesn't matter who. It might have been at the club, the pub, or in the loo. And if you be my friend, then I might give it to you. Thank you very much.
So that gives me time to call Richard Stockton. Dickie Bob, is that you?
It is me.
All right. We've got a house full of people that want to hear what you have to say about Tom Lehrer. Go.
Really? Hello, everybody. How's Santa Cruz? Oh, my gosh. You know I love Santa Cruz. You know I love you. You know I love you. So, you know, it's like I can just see you there all sitting there doing your Tom Lehrer night. It's such a variation amongst the people of Santa Cruz. I can picture you in my mind right now. I have never seen a more diverse community of white people. You know, Tom Lehrer himself, you know, I'm glad you're having this meeting right now, because next year, you know, there's going to be drones taking down your license plate numbers. And Tom Lehrer would be the first to say that. Oh, my gosh. But I did write an article for Lookout about him, and I started off by interviewing people in Santa Cruz, and everybody in Santa Cruz, I mean, who met him at tap dancing lessons, the Crow's Nest. Tom Lehrer loved you, and he loved Santa Cruz. And everyone says what an effortlessly likable person Tom Lehrer is. I personally have never experienced that, people, but you know what? I was thinking about. There's one thing about him that's just, and that's why you're there. At 96 years old, I think he is now. Yeah, his impact, his legacy, it's alive in Santa Cruz. You're doing it right now. He quit producing satirical recordings more than 50 years ago. And isn't it astonishing how relevant these songs are to our current situation? You know, and perhaps his own explanation of his success fits the tenor of our times. Like, you know, Tom said, he said, always predict the worst and you'll be hailed as a prophet. Yeah. So I know this is Tom Lehrer's night, but I want to leave you with one pop quiz, if I may, of my own. So here's the scenario. Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Kim Jong-un are in a boat out in the middle of the ocean. The boat capsizes. Who survives?
Save the boat. We do.
Nobody. Mankind survives. Hey, thank you all. You guys have a ball tonight. You guys have too much fun. I wish I was there with you. I love you. I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
All right. All right. We know that Rowan is here. We know that Amy is here. Let's start with Amy and performance of The Elements. Indeed, unrehearsed. Oh. Hold on. John, is this from your collection? Are they for sale? Oh, okay. Not for sale, but this is what they look like. They go for $1 million each. Pristine. Never touched a turntable.
Am I supposed to be up here?
Shut up. Jeez. No, please be quiet. What? Oh, okay. This is Amy.
How do I adjust the mic?
This is what I learned at the Strawberry Music Festival.
Hey, hi. Hi everyone. I'm Amy. I learned this song because I could. So yeah. I guess no piano intro even. Thank you.
All I have is the intro. The music is in 7 frets too high for a high school singer.
I memorize it. I'll do it if you want.
Oh. Yeah. So this is,
There's antimony, arsenic, aluminum, selenium, and hydrogen, and oxygen, and nitrogen, and rhenium, and nickel, neodymium, neptunium, germanium, and iron, americium, ruthenium, uranium, europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium, and lanthanum, and osmium, and acetine, and radium, and gold, proctinium, and indium, and gallium, and iodine, and thorium, and thulium, and thallium. There's yttrium, ytterbium, actinium, rubidium, and boron, gadolinium, niobium, iridium, and strontium, and silicon, and silver, and samarium, and bismuth, bromine, lithium, beryllium, and barium. There's holmium, and helium, and hafnium, and erbium, and phosphorus, and francium, and fluorine, and terbium, and manganese, and mercury, molybdenum, magnesium, dysprosium, and scandium, and cerium, and cesium, and lead, praseodymium, and platinum, plutonium, palladium, promethium, potassium, polonium, tantalum, technetium, and titanium, tellurium, and cadmium, and calcium, and chromium, and curium. There's sulfur, californium, and fermium, berkelium, and also mendelevium, ninsinium, nobelium, and argon, crystal, neon, and rhodium, and chlorine, carbon, cobalt, copper, tungsten, tin, and sodium. These are the only ones of which the news has come to Harvard. And there may be many others, but they haven't been discovered.
All right, Roland, get up here. Don't you love it when people on stage have to do this, shade their eyes so they can see what's... There we go. Here we go.
What's up? Jerry, are you up for it? Sure. I mean, you wanna hop up here with me? That'd be sweet.
I don't have the whole song in the right key, so you wouldn't want to sing it up there.
Hey, fair enough. I don't know how I'm gonna follow that one up, but I'll try. maybe call upon Kylan and his verse to be here with me. I'll give it a go. All right. You know the piano? There's antimony, arsenic, aluminum, selenium, and hydrogen, and oxygen, and nitrogen, and rhenium, and nickel, neodymium, neptunium, germanium, and iron, americium, ruthenium, uranium, europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium, and lithium, potassium, and acetine, and radium, and protactinium, and indium, and thallium, and thulium, and thallium. There's yttrium, terbium, actinium, berbidium, and boron, gadolinium, niobium, iridium, and strontium, and silicon, and silver, and samarium, and bismuth, bromine, lithium, beryllium, and barium. There's holmium and helium and hafnium and erbium and phosphorus and francium and chlorine and terbium and manganese and mercury and molybdenum, magnesium, dysprosium and scandium and cerium and cesium and lamprey, neodymium and platinum, plutonium, promethium, potassium, telonium, magnesium, titanium, tellurium, and cadmium and calcium and chromium and curium. There's sulfur, californium, and fermium, berkelium, and aluminium, insanium, nobelium, iron, krypton, neon, radon, xenon, zinc, and rhodium, and chlorine, carbon, cobalt, copper, tungsten, and sodium. Shout out Kylan. And since Tom Lehrer wrote the song way back in 1959, we have discovered several new elements with which to rhyme. And I hope with his permission that I humbly make matters worse and put the extra elements into another very, very unnecessary verse. It's difficult because they chose such stupid, long, and silly names. How typical of scientists to play their nomenclature games. The names keep changing, how deranging life is so ephemeral. These scientists are the very models of a modern major general. There's hassium, lawrencium, nonstadium, and dummium, magnesium, cobonesium, moscovium, fluorovium, redgenium, brigaverdium, nihonium, seaborgium, and yes, adenosine, livermorium, and borium. These are the only ones of which the news has come to Harvard. And there may be many others, but they haven't been discovered.
That was Jackson on the piano. Another big hand for him. And for Roland. And for Amy. Real here. This is, yeah. I love this. I love doing these shows. I really do. I don't know what we're going to do next year for a tribute that'll beat this. You know, we've done some great ones. My favorite one probably, and this is a great story, and I should get John up here to help me tell this. The one we did for John Prine before he passed away. Fiona Prine calls my brother up and says, "So I hear you're doing John's music." "Yeah." "Well, John wants to talk to you about that." So John Prine gets on the phone and talks with my brother, and "You're going to do some of my songs?" "Yeah." And my brother's shaking in his boots thinking, uh-oh, we didn't check with him to see if, you know, how much he wants to do his music. So Prine says, "How much money do you expect to raise?" After John has explained to him that it's a benefit, just like this evening. And John says, "I don't know, a couple $1,000. John Prine says, "Okay, I'll help you out. He sends a check for $5,000. So if you want to know why I think John Prine is the best, that's one of the reasons. Okay. Like you guys expected something professional? All right. Despite sporadic returns to the public eye, such as writing songs for the Electric Company in the 70s, and having his songs revived in the musical review Tomfoolery in 1980, Tom has mostly stayed away from the stage, content with his academic work and the occasional quirky contribution to radio shows like, talk about history, Garrison Keillor's American radio program. Please welcome Dave Täht.
I'd like to do a song that brings me great comfort in these trying times. Hold on. There we go. When you attend a funeral, it is sad to think that sooner or later those you love will do the same for you. And you may have thought it tragic, not to mention other adjectives, and thinking all the thinking they will do. But don't you worry, no more ashes, no more sackcloth, and an armband made of black cloth will someday never more adorn a sleeve. For if the bomb that drops on you kills your friends and neighbors too, there'll be nobody left behind to grieve. And we will all go together when we go. What a comforting fact that is to know. Universal bereavement and inspiring achievement. Yes, we all will go together when we go. We will all go together when we go. All suffused with an incandescent glow. No one will have the endurance to collect on their insurance. Lloyd's of London will be loaded when they go. No more misery when the world is our rotisserie. We will fry together when we fry. Down by the old maelstrom, there'll be a storm before the calm. And we will all bake together when we bake. There'll be nobody present at the wake, with complete participation in that grand incineration. Nearly 8 billion hunks of well-done steak. We will all char together when we char. And let there be no moaning of the bar. Just sing out a Te Deum when you see that icy beam, and the party will become as you are. We will all burn together when we burn. There'll be no need to stand and wait your turn. When it's time for the fallout, and St. Peter calls us all out, we'll drop our agendas and adjourn. You all go directly to your respective Valhallas. Go directly, don't pass go, don't collect $200. We will all go together when we go. hot in every Eskimo. When the air becomes Uranus, we will all go simultaneous. Yes, we all will go together. Yes, we'll all will go together. Yes, we all will go together when we go. Thank you.
To avoid the draft, I know I did, Tom briefly worked at Bard Atomic in Cambridge, which sounds like the kind of place where nuclear mischief happens. But in 1955, Tom did what any red-blooded American male would do. He served his 2 years in the Army, but not with Sleepy John at Fort Ord. The only lasting legacy of this military service was a recipe for vodka jello, a song about being proud to be a soldier and the preservation of freedom in the United States of America. You're welcome, America. Please welcome to the stage Cassidy and Dan Orange. They are wearing Air Force jackets, kindly lent by the Denison University Costume Shop.
So, when I was growing up, my parents had a record collection. And I had the fortune of being able to play those records when my parents were at work. The first record that really grabbed me was Tommy by The Who. The second record was Jesus Christ Superstar. The third record was Tom Lehrer. That was the year that was. So I grew up with Tom Lehrer when I was in elementary school. So unlike Jerry Paul, who had a Lutheran minister as a father and 6 Lutheran uncles who were ministers, this is what I grew up with. Unlike Reverend Evan, back there, back row, house right, okay, who listened to pollution and became an environmental lobbyist, okay? A life-changing event. I got to listen to these songs. I came out here for graduate school in 1986, and the rumor was that Tom Lehrer, who was on the math faculty, would throw a party once a year and invite his students and might tickle the ivory 88s and play some of his songs. I never caught wind of any of those parties ahead of time. I was never able to join them. However, at Logos, I found Lehrer's first album, one of 350,000, after the first 400, and the reprise record, re-release of it. So we were here. Ron hasn't talked about it, but when the Four Men opened for the Austin Lounge Lizards here in the Kuumbwa, who walked in but Tom Lehrer and his family, okay? Sleepy, you weren't here, you missed that gig, okay? But they were here, they enjoyed the show, they moved on. So, as a graduate student at UC Santa Cruz, I never made it to a Tom Lehrer party. It's one of those things that, didn't happen. We missed it, but
That was the year that was. 1965 is an album recorded at the Hungry Eye in San Francisco, containing performances by Tom Lehrer of satiric topical songs he originally wrote for the NBC television series.
That was the week that was, known informally as TW3, which aired in 1964 to 1965.
This is the intro from the album Side 2.
First
song number one. First song. Beg your pardon. This year, we've been celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Civil War.
And the 50th anniversary of the beginning of World War I.
And the 20th anniversary of the end of World War II.
So all in all, it's been a good year for the war buffs.
And a number of LPs, that's records, for those of you who are too young to remember vinyl, and television specials. Murray, I'm looking at you, who's looking at his phone. That's streaming before the era of streaming, have come out capitalizing on all this nostalgia,
with particular emphasis on the songs of the various wars.
I feel that if any songs are going to come out of World War III,
we better start off writing them now.
We have one here. You might call it a bit of pre-nostalgia. This is the song that some of the boys
and girls sang as they went bravely off
to World War III. So long, Mom.
I'm off to drop the bomb.
So don't wait up for me.
But while you swelter
down there in your shelter,
you can see me
on your TV.
While we're attacking frontally,
watch Hannity and Coverly
describing contrapuntally
the cities we have lost.
No need for you
to miss a minute of the agonizing Holocaust. Yeah. Little Johnny Jones, he was a U.S. pilot.
And no shrinking violet was he.
He was mighty proud when World War III was declared.
He wasn't scared, no sirree.
And this is what he said on his way to Armageddon.
So long, Mom.
I'm off to drop the bomb.
So don't wait up for me.
But though I may roam far from my home,
although it may be a pile of debris,
remember, Mommy,
I'm off to get a commie.
So send me a salami
and try to smile somehow.
I'll look for you
when the war is over.
An hour and a half from now. Give it up for Jerry Paul on piano.
During his time at Harvard, Tom created the Physical Review, a collection of songs about things like derivatives and the periodic table. Think the derivative song, sung to the tune of There'll Be Some Changes Made, and the Elements, which we've all enjoyed this evening, which is just the Major General's song from the Pirates of Penzance, only with more sodium. After staging it at Harvard twice, Tom thought, I'm on to something here, and recorded his first album, Songs by Tom Lehrer, in 1953. So now we get to enjoy a couple of songs by Denise and Bob Gomez. Bob Gomez, the Poet Laureate of Watsonville.
Soon to be ex-poet laureate, I might add.
Emeritus? Is that
We've
what they
got a
call
new
it?
one. Emeritus.
Emeritus.
Emeritus. Yes, I'm Bob Gomez. This is Denise.
Hi.
To our friends, sometimes the Latin speakers, we are known as the Gomai. A Latin joke there. So how many banana slugs do we have in the audience tonight? UCSC grads.
Yeah, me
This
too,
one.
Me too.
1973, am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
How many Harvard graduates?
Just one.
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay, two.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to do a little ditty for you, a little warm-up song here for you.
As usual, these songs are still relevant.
Whew. And boy, did Tom knock out a classic with National Brotherhood Week. He goes right through racism, moves along to
Classism.
Classism and
Yeah.
class,
Yeah.
inequity, economic inequity. And he ends up with religious intolerance. All in one tight little, peppy little bouncy folk number, which was perfect for its time.
Yep.
Yeah. And is still relevant. All right, let's go for it. National Brotherhood Week. Feel free to sing along.
Oh, yes.
Oh, the white folks hate the black folks, and the black folks hate the white folks. To hate all but the right folks is an old established rule. But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, Lena Horne and Sheriff Clark are dancing cheek to cheek. It's fun to eulogize the people you despise, as long as you don't let them in your school. Oh, the poor folks hate the rich folks, and the rich folks hate the poor folks. All of my folks hate all of your folks. It's American as apple pie. But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, New Yorkers love the Puerto Ricans 'cause it's very chic. Step up and shake the hand of someone you can't stand. You can't tolerate him if you try.
Okay, might want to buckle your seatbelts for this last verse.
Oh, the Protestants hate the Catholics, and the Catholics hate the Protestants, and the Hindus hate the Muslims, and everybody hates the Jews. But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, it's national, everyone smile at one another. Hood Week, be nice to people who are inferior to you. It's only for a week, so have no fear. Be grateful that it doesn't last all year.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you. As we take a moment to get the lyrics to the next song. Yes, we do have clipboards. We are public school teachers. That's good. They didn't hear that. Clipboards make us feel safe. That's great. That's great. So the next song is Smut, and it's really a treatise. It's a treatise on censorship, right? It is still so relevant today when we have books being banned from libraries. We have drag queen story hours being banned. We haven't learned what the First Amendment really is about, and Tom nailed it in this song. So, you want to say anything else about it?
Yeah, in a very, very clever way. We realized after reading through the lyrics that it's about smut, but he does not use or name a single body part. It's all suggestive.
Yes. unless you count the word but.
But he uses
One.
it as a conjunction, so.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
All right.
Okay. All right, here we go with Smut.
This is a little tricky here. Let's do this one.
It's a march. Tom always, he introduced this song with, I have a cause. Obscenity. I'm for it, he said. Here we go.
Smut. Give me smut and nothing but a dirty novel I can't shut if it's uncut and unsut. Toe.
I never quibbled. If it was dribbled, I would devour, while others merely nibbled. As the judge remarked the day that he acquitted my Aunt Hortense, to be smut, it must be utterly without redeeming social importance.
Pornographic pictures I adore, indecent magazines galore. I love them more if they're hardcore.
Bring on the obscene movies, murals, postcards, neckties, samplers, stained glass windows, tattoos, anything. More, more. I'm still not satisfied. Bum, bum. Stories of tortures used by debauchers, lurid, licentious, and vile, make me smile. Novels that pander to my taste for candor give me a pleasure sublime.
Let's face it, I love slime.
Old books can be indecent books, the recent books are bolder. For filth, I'm glad to say, is in the mind of the beholder. When correctly viewed, everything is lewd. I can tell you things about Peter Pan and the Wizard of Oz. There's a dirty old man.
I thrill to any book like Fanny Hill, and I suppose I always will, if it is swill and really filthy.
Who needs a hobby like tennis or philately? I've got a hobby, rereading Lady Chatterley. But now they're trying to take it all away from us, and then we take a stand, and hand in hand we fight for freedom of the press. In other words, smut. I love it. The adventures of a slut. Oh, I'm a market they can't glut. I don't know what compares with smut. Hip, hip, hooray.
Let's hear it for the Supreme Court.
Don't let them take it away. And thank you, Ron, for inviting. Let's hear it for Ron Sandidge for putting this together. Thank you, Ron.
During his time at Harvard, Tom created the Physical Review, a collection of songs about things like derivatives and the periodic table. Did I already do this? All right, let's move right along here. Blah, 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 blah. Please welcome Bonnie Holmer.
Give me a minute. Hi. I want to start again by thanking Jerry for learning all these songs in the last few days and playing. Some of us could not do it without him. So talented. All right. I love Tom Lehrer. And I want all of you to raise your hands high and strong if you had the pleasure as a child of attending summer camp. And keep those hands high if you came home singing songs that were kind of funny, kind of inappropriate, and today would be completely politically incorrect. I am of the firm belief that Tom Lehrer never outgrew that phase in his life and found a way as a young adult to turn it into popular music. My mom introduced me to Tom Lehrer, or at least a few of his songs. She was an avid fan, for she too thoroughly believed in songs that made you laugh and didn't shy away from teaching them to her children in the era that political correctness started to really step in. We certainly grew up with songs like Suffocation, Jolly Suffocation, Suffocation, the game we like to play. Oh, you know that one? Yeah, that was my family over there joining in. And my mom joining in. This next song I first learned while we were sitting around a campfire, enjoying these silly songs, and my mother broke out with this gem. It's a love song. Okay, hold on. That's not the right part. That's the right part. I hold your hands in mine, dear. I press it to my lips. I take a healthy bite from your dainty fingertips. My joy would be complete, dear, if you were only here. But still I keep your hand as a precious souvenir. The night you died, I cut it off. I really don't know why. For now, each time I kiss it, I get blood stains on my tie. I'm sorry now I killed you, for our love was something fine. Until they come to get me, I will hold your hand in mine.
Tom Lehrer did not teach as a professor. He did not acquire a PhD. He was a lecturer at MIT in political science and in mathematics at the University of California, Santa Cruz. One course at UCSC was his music, and his students got to perform the songs he wrote. In 1993, Tom made waves again when his song, That's Mathematics, was featured in a documentary celebrating the proof of Fermat's last theorem. Never heard of it. I'm a linguist. Jeez, give me a break. This triumph of math, like all things Tom Lehrer, was both brilliant and delightfully absurd. And by 2024, after more than 30 years of obscurity, that was the year that was certified gold, thanks to over 500,000 copies sold. Take that, pop culture. Now, another of Tom Lehrer's songs performed for all of you by Richard Dwyer. Or would you believe Jerry K?
Oh, come on, make your mind up.
Yeah.
This is Richard. Come on, dude, you're up. It's kind of how the night's been going, really, yeah? So last time I did this song was in 2021. I just had to look it up on Facebook. And I was a part of Cabrillo Stage's production of Tomfoolery. And until then, I'd only heard bits and pieces of Tom Lehrer's songs. And then all of a sudden, I was, stuck right in the middle of them. And it was then I realized what a weird guy he was and how much I loved everything he did. But the last time I did the song, I was dressed as I'm sure all of your favorite Vice President Dick Cheney. So with that little bit of information, you can probably guess what the song that I'm going to do. A little bit of housekeeping. First of all, you could store meat in that green room. And secondly, you've got a smoke alarm that needs a new battery back there. And it's not in any tune that I know of, so you might want to take care of that.
All set?
All set.
You have any ammunition there?
Oh, no, they checked me on the way out. I always will remember 'twas a year ago, November. I went out to shoot some deer on a morning bright and clear. I went and shot the maximum the game laws would allow. 2 game wardens, 7 hunters, and a cow. I was in no mood to trifle. I took down my trusty rifle and went out to stalk my prey. What a haul I had that day! I tied him to my fender and I drove them home somehow. 2 game wardens, 7 hunters, and a cow. The law was very firm, it took away my permit, the worst punishment I ever endured. It turned out there was a reason, cows were out of season, and one of the hunters wasn't insured. People ask me how I do it, and I say there's nothing to it. You just stand there looking cute, and when something moves, you shoot. Now I've 10 stuffed heads in my trophy room right now. 2 game wardens, 7 hunters, and a cow. The law was very firm, it took away my permit, the worst punishment I ever endured. It turned out there was a reason, cows were out of season, and one of the hunters wasn't insured. Everybody, people ask me how I do it, and I say there's nothing to it. You just stand there looking cute, and when something moves, you shoot. Now there's 10 stuffed heads in my trophy room right now. 2 game wardens, 7 hunters, and a purebred Guernsey cow. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jerry.
Tom Lehrer here, and welcome to the stage, Jerry K.
You know, I was a teenager when I think I first heard Tom Lehrer, and at that time we were just coming out of the tail end of the McCarthy era. We were still in it in many respects when he started doing it, and at the time you couldn't always be overtly political, or as Lenny Bruce learned at the time, you couldn't be overtly sexually, explicitly sexual, but humor still was the way that America could experience a lot of different things, talk about things. So you had Mort Saul, and you had Tom Lehrer, and you had Woody Allen, you had a lot of comedians coming up, and Dick Gregory, who had a whole Penelope. of stuff. Anyhow, so Shelley Berman, of course. Red Fox, yeah. All right, so it was like a really classic time of humor, and Tom didn't like just stick with a political line. He cast his sarcastic eye towards anything, and at the time when protest folk songs were sort of becoming popular, he went, okay. And he wrote this song, and in his because he said what bravery it takes for someone to get up in front of at a college campus or a coffee house and sing about peace, brotherhood, and justice when everybody else would be against it. And but he also said that in writing the song, he wrote it on the piano and everything, but it was supposedly a folk song, so he said it should be done more on a folk instrument like a guitar. So I rearranged it a little bit, same words, but I made it more folk. We are the folk song army. Every one of us cares. We all hate poverty, war, and injustice, unlike the rest of you squares. There are innocuous folk songs, yeah. We regard them with scorn. The folks who sing them have no social conscience. Why, they don't even care if Jimmy cracked corn. So if you feel dissatisfaction, strum your frustrations away. Some people may prefer action, but give me a good old folk song any old day. The tune don't have to be clever, and it don't matter if you put a couple extra syllables into a line. It sounds more ethnic if it ain't good English, and it don't even gotta rhyme. Excuse me, rhyme. Remember the war against Franco? Come on, none of us remember the war against Franco. It might be, that was before World War II, okay? But, okay. That's the kind where each of us belongs. Though he might have won all the battles, we had all the good songs. So join the folk song army. Guitars are the weapons we bring to fight against war, poverty, injustice. Ready, aim, sing, drum me like that last line. To fight against poverty, war, and injustice. Ready, aim, sing. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Thank you very much.
Now, Tom resides in Cambridge. He's never been married, nor does he have children. Because let's face it, the world could barely handle one of him. As for his showbiz career, that's not a life for me, he says. And if you don't mind, I think I'll spend the next decade making people laugh from a comfortable distance. Let's please welcome our final performer, Ray Zondet.
Before we begin, I'd like to invite a friend up here. Jackson, if you're here, you come on up? Help me out with this.
I'm sorry you have to deal with me again. I've got 200 more songs here to do, and the doors are being locked until it's done.
Now, some of you with young children may have perhaps been put in the embarrassing position of being unable to do your child's arithmetic homework because of the current revolution in mathematics instruction called the new math. So as a public service here tonight, I thought I would give you a brief lesson in the new math. Tonight we're going to cover subtraction. This is the first room I've worked in a while that didn't have a blackboard, so we're going to have to make do with more primitive user interface, as they say in the digital content business. Consider the following subtraction problem, which I will put up here. 342 minus 173. Now, remember how we used to do that. We'd say 3 from 2 is 9, and you carry the 1. And then if you're under 35 or went to a private school, you'd say 7 from 3 is 6. But if you're over 35, went to a public school, you'd say 8 from 4 is 6. Carry the 1. In either case, you're left with 169. But in the current approach, as you may know, the important thing is to understand what you're doing rather than to get the right answer. Here's how they do it now. You can't take 3 from 2. 2 is less than 3, so you look at the 4 in the tens place. Now that's really 4 tens. Make it 3 tens, regroup, and you change a 10 to 10 ones, and you add it to the 2 and get 12, and you take away 3, and that's 9. Is that clear? Now, instead of 4 in the tens place, you got 3 because you added 1, that is to say 10 to the 2. But you can't take 7 from 3. You look in the hundreds place. From the 3, you then take 1, make 10 ones. And you know why 4 plus minus 1 plus 10 is 14 minus 1? Because addition is commutative, right? And so you got 13 tens, and you take away 7, and that's 5. Well, 6, actually. But the idea is the important thing. Now go back to the hundreds place. You're left with 2, and you take away 1 from 2, and that leaves. Everybody got 1. Not bad for the first day. Hooray for new math, new math. It won't do you a bit of good to review math. It's so simple, so very simple, that only a child can do it. Now, that's actually not the answer that I had in mind, because the book where I got this program wants you to do it in base 8. But don't panic. Base 8's really the same as base 10, basically, as if you're missing 2 fingers. Should we have a go at it? Hang on. You can't take 3 from 2. 2 is less than 3, so you look at the 4 in the 8's place. Now that's really 4 8s, so you make it 3 8s. Regroup, change the 8 to 8 ones, and you add it to the 2, and you get 1, 2 base 10, which is 10 base 10. Take away 3, and that's 7. Okay. Now, instead of 4 in the 8's place, you got 3 because you added 1, that is to say 8 to the 2. But you can't take 7 from 3, so you look at the 64s. 64s. How did 64 get into it? I hear you ask. Well, 64 is 8 squared, don't you see? Maybe those extra 2 fingers are helpful, after all. Now go back to the 64s. Take away 1, make 10 ones. Here we go. From the 3, you then take 1, make 8 ones. You add those ones to the 3, and you get 1 3 base 8. So in other words, in base 10, you have 11. Take away 7, and 7 from 11 is 4. Now go back to the 64s. You're left with 2, and you take away 1 from 2, and that leaves. let's not always see the same hands. Yes, one, that's right. Whoever got one can stay after the show and clean the erasers. Hooray for new math, new math. It won't do you a bit of good to review math. It's so simple, so very simple, that only a child can do it. Come back tomorrow night. We're gonna do fractions.
So there you have it, the life and times of Tom Lehrer, math nerd, musical mastermind, and one of the most delightfully sardonic people to ever tickle your funny bone. What we'd like to do now is invite you, the members of the audience, and the complete ensemble of our performers to return to the stage. You guys stay in your seats. And we're going to do Thanksgiving Hymn. Yes, it's the post-Thanksgiving hymn. Nope. All right.
Me.
All right. Ray, Jerry. Bonnie's already up there. Cassidy's up there. Denise and Bob. Christa's there, yes. All right. Thanks once again to Raison Det, Richard Dwyer, Bonnie Holmer, Michael Schoolcraft, Dave Täht, Cassidy and Dan Orange, Denise and Bob Gomez, Michael Gaither, Christa Taylor, Dylan Music, who's left the building, Mike Parks, Ralph Anybody, and Jerry Kay. And on piano this evening, Jerry Paul, and Jackson.